choose who you support, both in terms of your financial gifts and in terms of where you go. Mount Vernon is doing a very nice job of telling the American story and preserving George Washington's legacy. And so you can choose to go to Mount Vernon over Montpelier, for example. Yeah. A second piece I would say is to get back to reading and knowing the primary sources.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of, it's very difficult to evaluate text and know which texts are good versus bad until you look at, okay, are they relying on the primary sources?
Right.
And then it becomes quite obvious. For example, one of the ways that Montpelier is distorting the American narrative is that they ignore James Madison's own words about things.
Wow.
Right. So just to give one example, they say that the words slave and slavery never appear in the Constitution, which is true, but they're painting that in a negative light, right? And James Madison says that the delegates refused to put those words in the Constitution because they didn't want to instill the idea that you could have property in men.
Right.
Right. Or for example, they say that the clauses in the Constitution that are about suppressing revolts and domestic violence are about slavery. And they list 5 revolts, only 2 of which happened before the Constitution was written, and say, see, this clause is about slave revolts. But what James Madison said, and what many of the founders said, it was about Shays' Rebellion.
Right, of course.
Of course, because that had just happened. It was the forefront of their minds. And so they wanted the government to have this basic power of maintaining the peace. Right. So getting back to the primary sources really helps us evaluate these different narratives of our history.